branches, anterior, you have seen here. Okay, this is the horizontal, this is the ascending and this is the posterior ramus, and this very part on the superolateral surface, this part, it is known as the insula. Insula on the surface, on the lateral aspect of this lateral sulcus, there is insula. Can you say that what is insula? Sometimes short notes, or you can be asked in the viva also. This insula. What is it? Insula? Anyone? Anyone?
At the point where lateral
That is the pyramidal state.
Wait. Here, in this very part, it is nothing. Insula is the submerged part of the cerebral cortex, which is folded in the stem of the lateral sulcus. Isn't it? Here it is the stem and the folded, the cerebral cortex, it is folded here and it is inserted over here, insula, and that is hidden by the operculum. We will discuss this in detail in the next class with the topography of the cerebrum. So, at the site of the insula, it is the anterior, this is the ascending and this is the posterior ramus of the lateral sulcus. So, it is not of concern right now. So, at the insula, it is divided. So, we need to say that the middle cerebral artery, it is running in the system of the lateral sulcus and spreading the, it is supplying all over the superolateral surface. Isn't it? Now, it was the middle cerebral artery, it is supplying over here temporal pole also and the lateral surface of the orbital part or lateral half of the orbital part, as well as the temporal pole here and on the superolateral surface after coming out of the insula. Now posterior, the posterior cerebral artery through the cortical branches, it is supplying the whole of the tentorial surface. A very important branch of the posterior cerebral artery which we have discussed, that is the calcarine branch. The calcarine branch, it is going where? On the medial surface, which runs over the calcarine sulcus and supplies what? The visual area here. Yes or no? The visual area or the chat area, area number 17 it is. So, this is the calcarine branch. Very important. Calcarine branch of the posterior cerebral artery. So, now it is clear what is the surfaces, how the surfaces get their blood supply, yes or no? The middle cerebral artery, it is Melissa, the Broca's speech area, the motor speech area, sensory vernix area as well as the auditory area. The posterior cerebral artery, it is taking the charge to supply the visual area. Anterior cerebral artery, it is supplying the area for the leg and foot motor or sensory both along with the perineum. So, it is like that. Now, there is a peculiarity of here. These are the cortical branches, isn't it? These surfaces that we have discussed here, this was the diagram related with the cortical branching pattern on the different surfaces of the brain. But what about the central branches of the circle of Willis? To how it supplies the deeper structure there? Yes or no? These are the superior view of the different surfaces via the cortical branches arising from the circle of Willis, and how the deeper structures, deeper nuclei situated just like the corpus striatum, the thalamus, okay, the geniculate bodies, the pineal gland, these are the deeper structures. So how they are getting their blood supply? So just have a look again of the circle of Willis, you know. Yes or no? Have you remembered the circle of Willis? What was the branches and how it is formed? This is the basilar artery. What is this? This is the, tell me.
cerebral
Cerebral artery.
Posterior
And
cerebral
here
artery.
it is what?
Posterior communicating
Communicating artery.
Here it is the posterior communicating artery. Here it is the posterior communicating artery. Here it is the anterior cerebral artery. Okay. It is the internal carotid artery. This is the middle cerebral artery. It is the middle cerebral artery. Now we have discussed here this circle of Willis, where it is situated in the interpeduncular fossa, and there were central branches which were emerging from the arteries which are forming the circle of Willis. There were in the four groups. This is the anteromedial, yes or no? Anteromedial branch, it is arising from the anterior communicating artery as well as this is the anterior communicating artery, and this is the anterior cerebral artery. So anterior cerebral artery as well as the anterior communicating artery both gives the anteromedial group of the central branches. These are the central branches. So central branches are arranged in the four sets. Anteromedial and the anterolateral will be there. This is the middle cerebral artery. So the anterolateral set it is present here from the middle cerebral artery. Okay. Now the posteromedial. What is there? The posteromedial artery arising from the posterior cerebral artery as well as the posterior communicating artery. Isn't it? This is the posterior communicating artery, this one. So it is arising from the posterior cerebral artery also as well as the posterior communicating artery. Here it is the posterior cerebral artery. So posterolateral will be arising from the posterior cerebral artery like this. Okay. Now one by one, what are the important structures which will be supplied by these anteromedial, the anterolateral, the posteromedial and the posterolateral? Isn't it? Now before going in detail, you think this is the inferior surface but interpeduncular fossa where the circle of Willis is situated, and just above that some deeper structures just like the thalamus which is situated here. Here is the chordate nucleus. Here it is the lentiform nucleus. From medial to lateral. When you will move from medial to lateral aspect, there are certain deeper structures which will get that supplied by the central branches. Now tell me, anteromedial group. This one, anteromedial set. Just now I have explained which is a branch of the anterior cerebral artery. It is a branch of the anterior cerebral artery and as well as the anterior communicating artery. Just now I have said on the medial surface, after piercing the lamina terminalis and the anterior perforating substance. Yes or no? Anterior perforating substances are there. The deeper these central arteries will pierce this anterior perforating substance and supplies what? The rostrum as well as the septum pellucidum. Isn't it? Yes or no? Septum pellucidum, and a very special nomenclature of the anteromedial group. It is known as the recurrent artery of Hubner. You leave it, forget anteromedial. One artery that you have to remember, that is the central branch of the anterior cerebral artery, which is known as recurrent artery of Hubner. Before anastomosing with the anterior communicating artery, there is an artery which is arising from the anterior cerebral artery, which is known as what? Recurrent artery of Hubner. Recurrent artery of Hubner. H-E-U-B-N-E-R. Okay, recurrent artery of Hubner. importance of this artery in which sense you have to remember it. For what? It is the main supply of what? And this is the anterior aspect, this is the posterior aspect, isn't it? So, caudate nucleus, it is situated anteriorly here. I will just rub this diagram here. For a while. Caudate nucleus, look here. Caudate nucleus, it is situated like this. Here it is the tail, and here it is the head, it is the expanded part. Here it is the lentiform nucleus. Look here, here it is the lentiform nucleus, which is the globus pallidus, and here it is the putamen. This part, to this two part, it is the globus pallidus and it is the putamen. So, and head of the caudate nucleus it is here, and this, the head of the caudate nucleus, this is the body of the caudate nucleus, and this is the tail of the caudate nucleus. Just lateral, a V-shaped area. What is this? What is this? Anyone? V-shaped area, what is this?
Internal capsule.
Yes, this is the internal capsule. A very important topic for UG, PG both. Isn't it? Internal capsule is there. It is V-shaped. We will read in detail the internal capsule later on. But look, what are the structures which are supplied here by the recurrent artery of humor? And just here it is the internal capsule, then outer part here will be the external capsule. Okay? Now, this head of the caudate nucleus, it is getting a direct branch from the recurrent artery of humor. Okay? And all of you must be knowing that there are three parts of the internal capsule. This is the anterior limb, this is the genu, and this is the posterior limb. This is the posterior limb, this is the genu, and this is the anterior limb of what? Internal capsule. So, other than the head of the caudate nucleus, the recurrent artery of the humor also supplies the anterior half. That means only up to this portion, anterior half of the anterior limb. Okay? Anterior half of the anterior limb of the internal capsule, but the head as well as this is the putamen. This is the important structures which is getting their supply by the recurrent artery of humor. Isn't it? Yes or no? You will be asked the blood supply of the internal capsule. Then in that case you will have to remember this artery. Don't forget it. Recurrent artery of Hübner. It is a special branch of the anterior cerebral artery which is supplying the deeper structures such as the basal nuclei, the head of the caudate nucleus, as well as the anterior half of the anterior limb of the internal capsule, plus putamen is supplied. Now, the recurrent artery it is supplying these structures. Now, what are the rest of the structures? How are they are getting their supply? We will discuss now. Now, anteromedial was this one. Now come to the anterolateral, this one. Okay, this is the anterolateral set. This anterolateral set, it is arising from which artery? Middle cerebral artery. Yes or no? Anterolateral set, again it is divided into a medial group and a lateral group. Medial group and the lateral group. I am going to explain you a very important artery. Listen carefully. That is known as the artery of cerebral hemorrhage or Charcot's artery. Okay, Charcot's artery. Artery of cerebral hemorrhage. Of cerebral hemorrhage it is. Now, this anterolateral group, how it will supply these deeper structures here? Tell me. What happens? This anterolateral it is divided into two sets, the medial set and the lateral set. Medial strand branches, the medial striate branches, what it will do? Now come here. Suppose here is the middle cerebral artery and this is the striate branches arising from. This is the medial set and this is the lateral set of the anterolateral group. Medial striate artery, what it will do? It will run through the lentiform nucleus, okay, and it will supply this lentiform nucleus, the internal capsule as well as the body of the caudate nucleus like this, and by that means medial striate artery, what they will do? It ascends upwards via the lentiform nucleus to supply these structures. And that means on its way there is the lentiform nucleus, there is the internal capsule also, and just medial to that there is the body of the caudate nucleus. Now the lateral set, what I mean to say that the anterolateral group, the lateral set, the lateral striate branches that I have mentioned in the earlier previous class also, one of these lenticulo-lateral striate arteries are liable to be ruptured, and which is known as the artery of cerebral hemorrhage or the Charcot's artery, isn't it? Why? Look here, how this turn and then it supplies the caudate nucleus and the corpus striatum here. That's why it is liable to be ruptured, because it is not coming directly medially. It will take a turn, because the medial striate branches are ascending upwards via the lentiform nucleus. It is said. Then the lateral set, what it will do? It will ascend. It will supply all the structures by taking a bend outwards. This is the internal capsule, and that's why we have just outer to the lentiform nucleus. There is the external capsule, and here is the claustrum. Okay, so these lateral set branches, this will ascend upwards. Lateral, it will run through the which structure? That is the external capsule. External capsule. Okay, externally, more towards the surface, and then it will bend medially to supply all these structures. Whether it is the lentiform nucleus, whether it is the internal capsule, or whether it is the caudate nucleus. Is that? So there are two patterns. There are two patterns of this. Medial will supply by the lentiform, and lateral it will supply through the external capsule, and that's why it is this lateral striate branches of the middle cerebral artery. And you think 30% of the carotid blood it is running through the middle cerebral artery, and in the it is the direct continuation, supposed to be the direct continuation of the internal carotid artery, and such a high ratio of the blood is there, and among that it is taking again the outside band to supply the deeper structure. That's why it is more liable to be ruptured. That is the artery of cerebral hemorrhage. Now the posteromedial group here, the posteromedial set, what are the structures? The posteromedial group, imagine what are the structures? Here it is the third ventricle, which is bounded by the diencephalon, thalamus. So it will, the posteromedial set, what it will do? It will supply what structures? One by one, just enumerate it. Third ventricle, floor at the lateral wall, floor plus lateral wall of that. What else? Thalamus is there. Thalamus it is here. So, anterior part and the medial part of the thalamus. Anterior plus medial part of the thalamus. Thalamus via the thalamo-perforating arteries. Very important artery. Thalamo-perforating arteries. Thalamo-perforating arteries, this anteromedial group, it will supply the anterior and the medial aspect of the thalamus. structure it is running here, that is the cerebral peduncle of the midbrain, isn't it? Yes or no? This is the where the cerebral peduncle is there. So medial half and the lateral half. The medial half of the cerebral peduncle. Medial half of the cerebral peduncle will be supplied by the posterior medial group, isn't it? So what will be the supply of the lateral half of the cerebral peduncle? Via this posterolateral group. That means this posterolateral group will supply the lateral half of the cerebral peduncle. What else? What else?
Then the lateral and the posterior part of thalamus along with geniculate body.
Yes, posterior part of thalamus, posterior part of the thalamus plus lateral half of the cerebral peduncle. What else? Lateral half of the cerebral peduncle, geniculate bodies, very important. Geniculate bodies plus pineal gland. So these are the some important structures that are supplied by the posterolateral group. I mean to say that you remember the structures, how it is present, medial aspect, lateral aspect, and you remember the areas how they will supply that. The posterior part of the thalamus, the lateral half of the cerebral peduncle, and the geniculate bodies, just below retro and the sublentiform part is there. Geniculate bodies will be supplied there, as well as the pineal gland which is situated posteriorly, that is also supplied by the posteromedial group. Now, these were the central branches of the circulum villus and the areas which are being supplied by. Now, choroidal branches. Third variety is the choroidal. Choroidal. Now the surfaces have been described and the deeper structures has been described. Now the turn is of ventricles here. The choroidal branches. Okay. How many choroidal branches that you know? That is the anterior choroidal artery, and the posterior choroidal artery, isn't it? What is anterior choroidal artery? It is supplying what? Here, anterior choroidal artery, here was the what? Optic chiasma. Yes or no? Optic chiasma are there. And the anterior choroidal artery, it is arising just after the posterior proximal. It is supplying what? It is running parallel to the optic tract here. Optic tract. Anterior choroidal artery. So on its way, it is supplying the optic chiasma, optic tract here, both the sides. What else? Anterior choroidal artery will supply optic tract on its way. Then comes the uncus. Uncus, it is the part of temporal lobe. What else? Lateral geniculate body. Lateral geniculate body is also supplied by the anterior choroidal artery, and ultimately choroidal branches, it will terminate where? It will go in the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. In the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle, what it will do? It will anastomose with the posterior choroidal artery. Okay, so on its way, anterior choroidal artery, it is a branch of the which artery? It is a branch of?
Internal cavity.
Yes, very good. It will supply these structures, optic tract, uncus, parahippocampal gyrus also, geniculate bodies, and ultimately it will go to the inferior horn and supply there and anastomosis with the posterior choroidal artery. And a very important thing that we should remember of the anterior choroidal artery is, anyone? Just now we have discussed the artery of cerebral hemorrhage, and this is the artery of cerebral thrombosis. Artery of cerebral thrombosis, isn't it? That is the anterior choroidal artery. It is very important for the objective. Okay, artery of cerebral thrombosis. Why it is called artery of thrombosis, cerebral thrombosis? Because this artery, anterior choroidal artery, it runs a long course in the subarachnoid space. Its journey is longer in the subarachnoid space, plus it has relatively narrower lumen. Narrow lumen in relative to the other arteries, narrow lumen plus longer subarachnoid space, longer subarachnoid space. Okay, that's why this artery is known as artery of cerebral thrombosis. And then one of the lenticulostriate artery was the artery of cerebral hemorrhage. So both things are different. Okay, now look, before summing up, one thing important that we must know. Each half of the cerebral hemisphere, first of all, listen carefully, each half, that is the right half and the left half, it is supplied by normally, what? Normally it is supplied by its own artery, that is the right side, the right internal carotid artery and the vertebral artery. Okay, and in the left side it is the left internal carotid artery and the left vertebral artery. So it has been proved, this is the basilar artery, okay, and it has been formed by the union of two vertebral arteries, okay, and again this basilar artery it is forming, it is divided into the two posterior cerebral artery, and this posterior cerebral artery it is joined by the posterior communicating artery. One thing is keep in mind that the blood flow from each side of the vertebral artery, it will move towards its own side. It will not cross even in the basilar artery. A very important thing we have to understand here, a vertebral artery coming from below, it will maintain its lumen inside the basilar artery, it will maintain its flow either side, and in the posterior communicating artery, there is a point here which is known as the 0 point, where the flow of the blood, internal carotid artery, the flow of the blood as well as from the basilar artery, it unites here but it doesn't mix. That is in the posterior communicating artery, there is no mixing of the blood normally here. And this is placed in the posterior communicating artery. That means there is the supply of the brain on the right hand side by the right cell and the left hand side by the left cell. So, but what is the then importance of this circle of Willis? The functional significance is that if any one of the artery, internal carotid artery or the vertebral artery is occluded, any reason, then the blood can move anteriorly as posteriorly in the same side. Suppose opposite side it is occluded, the blood can cross the midline, the flow can cross the midline. So that's why there is need of the functional significance. But normally there is not mixing of blood even in the basilar artery. The vertebral artery will maintain its pressure either side. Okay? And in the next class we will discuss the topography of what? Cerebrum. Different areas, what are the lobes, what are the different areas, what are the importance of these areas, and you will read the subclavian steal syndrome and you will tell me in the next class. Okay? Subclavian steal syndrome, what it is. Short notes आता है उसमें. Okay, thank you.